Hello everyone, this is Bianca Zamora, your credit coach, and today we are going to be reviewing some really important information about a mortgage credit report. Okay, so today we're going to learn how to read a mortgage credit report, and this is going to be a 3-in-1 report, and we're just going to be going over the main parts of the credit report, basically what information to pull from it. This is going to be really helpful if you don't know how to read a credit report, or if you have questions about what certain pieces of information mean on your credit file. So I hope you enjoy this video. As always, you can like and share this video. You can also visit my website, www.biancazamora.com/credit expert, and you can book a call with me if you would like for me to go over your credit report with you. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. As you can see from my screen here, we have a 3-bureau mortgage credit report. Okay, so it's heavily redacted because, of course, I don't want to share any of my clients' information. But as you can see, the first page is very simple. At the top, you have the name of the company that the mortgage lender pulled the report from, called Advantage Credit. Below that, you're going to see more information about the lender's file number, who requested it, on what date, if there's a property address. So as you can see right now, there's no property, so this is a pre-qualification credit report. Below that, you're going to have the applicant information. So the applicant is going to be the primary borrower on the loan. So the primary person, typically the highest income earner, is going to be the primary borrower. They're going to have their name, their social, date of birth, address, and then you can also have a co-applicant. So this report does have a second applicant. So this is typically somebody that just wants to be on the loan, or someone that is contributing some type of financials to the loan, but not the primary wage earner. Okay, so down below that, you're going to have information about the credit scores, right? What bureau was pulled, what their score was, and we're going to be going over some of this information here. Now, one thing to kind of look at, which I hope you can see better now, is the type of scoring models that are being used. So a lot of people don't know that there are so many different types of credit scores out there, not only within FICO itself, but also Vantage, and then there's other credit scores out there as well. So if you look at this particular screen here, you're going to find that the lender pulled a Equifax Classic version 5, a TransUnion Classic version 4, and an Experian version 2, okay, for the applicant. And then the same types of scores for the co-applicant are listed a little bit below. A couple things to look at here is the reasons for why a particular credit score was reached. So if you look under these codes, you'll find that it says length of time accounts have been established, negatively impacted this person's credit score. Time since most recent account opening is too short. That has negatively impacted this person's credit score. Length of time revolving accounts have been established, negatively impacted the score, and too many accounts with balances. Okay, so these are going to be some of the reasons that you might actually also see on a declination letter as to why you were not approved, right? So let's talk about this. Length of time accounts have been established. So that means that the total amount of time that this particular borrower has had their accounts open is not good, right? So, or could be improved. So the longer you have an account open, the higher your credit score will be, okay? It also says time since most recent account opening is too short. So what that means is that they've recently opened an account, or they've opened an account that they deem is too soon or too recent. The third thing is length of time revolving accounts have been established. So again, that goes back to the first two, which is length of time and time since most recent account opening, right? So the amount of time that revolving accounts or credit card accounts have been established is too short. And this particular customer has too many accounts with balances. Okay, so that goes back to credit usage. How many of your credit accounts are carrying balances. Now, with a current FICO 8 model, it almost doesn't matter how many accounts you are carrying balances on as long as you're under, that 10% mark. But as you can see here, on a more traditional scoring model, like a version 5 or 4 or something like that, it is going to matter how many of your credit cards you are carrying balances on. So this is something that you want to look at when you do review your credit to see if any of these reasons you can adjust or make better. And again, we are here to help you with that as well. Okay, so moving on to the next part of the credit report, we are going to go through a section called public records. Okay, so public records would include any bankruptcies, judgments, or tax liens. So this is something that can show up on a mortgage report. I know right now bankruptcies are the only types of public records that are showing up, but on a mortgage report, they can pull in judgments and tax liens. So that is something that you definitely still need to be concerned about if you have, and make sure you go through the process of getting that cleaned up. Of course, we can help you with that here at Vivix, and me personally, I can help you with that as well. So definitely make sure that you are checking your public records. As we continue on with this report, we're going to see that we start with the account information. This is usually the hardest part for most people to understand is, what are all these numbers? What are all these figures talking about? So we're going to go ahead and just take a closer look at these accounts so you can kind of see what it says. So on the left hand side here, you're going to see the name of the collection agency, which in this case is Argonne Collections, or actually should be the name of the creditor, right? So it doesn't have to be a collection. So you have the name of the creditor, which is Argonne Collection Agency. And then down below that, you have an account number, okay? Now, some reports will give you the full account number. I've obviously redacted this for, privacy issues, but typically you will have a full account number, or at least most of it on a mortgage report. Okay, then you have the history or activity to the right of it, right? So each box represents a different set of data points. It's like a little spreadsheet with mini data inside each one. So all you have to do is just read it, so like going to the first little box here, it says open. So this is the date that this collection was open. They say it's December of 2020. Then it goes into the reported date. So this is the date that the account was first reported, right? Which is different from the open date. So the open date is the date that the collection agency opened the account or that the debt was incurred. And then the reported date is the date that the collection agency started to report the information. Okay, so you can see that's going to be, I think it's May of 2021. Okay. Then to the right of that, it's going to tell you what is the high credit. So this could be the maximum balance on the account. So in this case, it's $195. To the right of that, you have credit limit. Okay, so this would be if you did have a credit card or a loan, what is the limit on that account? In this case, it's a collection, so typically collections don't have credit limits. Next to that is going to be the months that this account has been reviewed. Okay, so the reviewing is done by the credit bureau. So this is the number of months that the credit bureau has included this particular account into the credit score, right? So obviously 5 months is not that long, but if you continue to scroll down, you'll see that there are accounts that have been reviewed for 15 months or more. Okay. To the right of reviewed is the pay history. So it talks about how many 30 to 59 day late payments has been reported on this account. As you can see, there's 0, which is fairly accurate because typically collections should not have any kind of payment history as far as being late. They've already gone as late as they could be once they went into collections. But if you do have, let's say, a credit card and you have a 1 here under the 30 to 59, as you can see, this one has a 0, but if you have a 1, that means you were late one time between 30 and 59 days late. Okay, so at least 1 30-day late. Next to that is 60 to 89, so that's 2 to almost 3 months late. This one has 0. Again, you can have 1 or 2 or more. And then you have 90 plus day late. So these are accounts that have gone 3 or more months past due and the number of times that has happened. Okay, so in this case, again, it's a collection, so we have 0. All right, now moving down, right? Moving down, we have DLA. What does DLA mean? Date of last activity. All right, so that is interesting because it's completely blank. So, date of last activity should be the last date that a payment was made on that account. Now, this one is blank. So, to me, that means that they maybe don't know or don't have the accurate information, or it's not being reported. So, that's something that, can be questioned. The next thing to that is going to be the ECOA. So that's for Equal Credit Opportunity Act. Who is the person that was reviewed for the Equal Credit Opportunity Act? As you can see, this has a B, so that represents the borrower or the primary borrower. If it says C, that is the co-applicant, right? Then to the right of that, it tells you the source of the data. So where are they getting this collection from? They're getting it from XP and TU. So XP represents Experian, TU represents TransUnion, and if they had EF or EQ, that would be Equifax. Okay, so that's the bureaus that are reporting this. So as you can see, this collection is only on two bureaus, and it's affecting two credit scores, right? Not all three. The next little section here is talking about what's the status of the account, right? So this one is saying collection, just a standard collection. Below that, it actually gives you original creditor information. So as you can see, it says medical payment data on this particular report. Now, why is that? Some people might say, oh, this is inaccurate. It doesn't list, the full information. Well, HIPAA laws actually prevent the exact information from being disclosed on a credit report. Okay, and this is the difference between a credit report and a consumer report. A consumer report is going to have the specific information from where the original debt was found, because it's only supposed to be viewed by the consumer or by you or by me, right? This is a credit report. So on a credit report, the medical information cannot be listed by law. Okay, so that's HIPAA law right there. All right, and then to the right of that is going to be three larger boxes that talk about the past due amount, right? So if there is a balance owed, it's also going to list if they've made any payments, which in this case, obviously none, and then the current balance owed. Okay, so this is just really good information for you to know so that you know how to read your credit report. And again, it just continues on down the page so that you can see this, obviously this person has several pages of collections here. And typically the derogatory information will be listed first, and then the positive information will be listed in a separate section. Okay, so as you can see on this particular page, you start with the positive information under open accounts, right? So you're going to be able to see those details there, and it continues on. So these are all considered open accounts. So these are all active trade lines, we would call, right? And as you can see, this customer has auto loans, student loans, right? They have something with web bank. So they have a lot of, diversity in their credit. So that's great. Again, moving on to additional open accounts. So again, a lot of active trade lines here. And this is the last page of open trade lines, okay? The next page is going to talk about closed accounts. So as you can see from the top, you're looking at closed accounts, and these are going to be all inactive accounts. So things that have already been paid and closed, or are no longer reporting, any information. Again, these are all considered positive accounts. There's no lates on any of these. And again, continuing on to page 2, just keeping in mind that you can have a C under the ECOA, which means the co-borrower. You can have a J, which means joint, right? Joint with either the borrower or another party. And then you have B for borrower, okay? This last page just goes over some basic information, or like a summary of what you've just reviewed. And you know what? A lot of times people will use a mortgage report as the basis for filing a dispute. And in general, that is typically okay. Again, it's going to leave out some information. I've always told people that even a mortgage report is not 100% accurate or complete. And now you can see why, because, again, they do leave out the medical information. And then also, really small detail here is the inquiry history. So as you may or may not know, the credit bureau keeps record of inquiries for up to 2 years. As you can see from this report, it's not a 2-year history on the inquiries. So let's look at that. As you can see right here, the inquiries on this particular report only go back 120 days, right? So what is that? That's like, what, 5 or 6 months, right? That the account or that this report is showing inquiries. Well, you could have more inquiries, between month 6 and month 24 than you have had within the last 6 months. So a good thing to know is that if you're trying to purchase a home, you want to try to not get your credit pulled a lot within the last 6 months. That way your scores can actually pull up higher because they only look at a 6-month history. But if you're trying to use a mortgage report to, let's say, file disputes on some of your inquiries, this report is just not going to have it. Okay, so you're going to need to get a different type of report, which we will talk about later. As you can see also from this page, it just gives you a summary of the number of mortgage accounts this particular set of clients have, auto loans, education loans, other installments, so it's just a really nice summary here. And then going back to the full report, we're going to go to kind of like the back part of the report that most people don't even look at. But if you notice on this report, you're going to have personal information. So whenever you have your credit pulled by a lender, they also check your information against the OFAC list, which is like for criminals, and also overall like personal information reports. And as you can see, this particular individual does have a bunch of different names and addresses that are being reported on them. Now, some of these names may be accurate, some of them may be inaccurate. Some of the addresses may be accurate, some of them may be inaccurate. So that's also important to look at on your consumer report to make sure that all of your names, addresses, employment history, and other pieces of personal data are correct, and if they're not, to go ahead and request to have that information removed. That is also something that we cover in our credit service, so that's something that's automatically included, and that's something that we've actually been doing for like almost 15 years as well. So it's not something that we just started doing, we've been doing that as well. Okay, so anyway, it has the personal information listed here, and then on the very back pages of the report, it's also going to have the names, addresses, phone numbers of the credit bureaus as far as what they have right now, so that if you do have questions or need to have that information corrected, you can call the credit bureau directly or mail them. And then right underneath that is going to have the creditor information. So this is really nice too because it gives you the name, the address, and the phone number if this particular lender report has the data, right? So if they do have it, they'll list it here. And this is good in case you do need to call and do like a pay for delete, or you need to send a direct dispute in to the creditor or something like that. So it's really nice to have that on the report. I'm going to post the credit bureau information here, so if you want, you can take a screenshot of this page right here. It gives you the names, addresses, phone numbers of the credit bureaus. That way you can have the information for future reference. Okay, and so yeah, I mean, this is essentially a full mortgage report. Again, this is for pre-qualification purposes, so again, it can potentially change if this particular set of clients decided to go buy tomorrow. That report that may be selected at that time may be a little bit different. But I hope this was helpful. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us at 702-434-4414. And of course, share this video. I'll be doing more videos here or more trainings, I should say, on other types of reports, right? Because this is just one type of credit report, and this is a 3-in-1 report. So it has all 3 bureaus kind of merged into into one file, but you can have a single report or a single bureau report from a mortgage company. You can also have reports that you pull online through third-party credit monitoring services like Privacy Guard, Identity IQ, etc. You can also have the reports that you pull online through annualcreditreport.com, and also reports that get mailed to you. These are the consumer reports, and all these reports look different and can have potentially different information on them. So it is important that you use a very accurate report if you are going to file disputes for yourself, and just know that depending on the source of the information or where you're getting a report from, it can have different pieces of information omitted or inserted. Okay, so thank you so much for your time today. I look forward to helping you in the future. Have a great day.